Welcome back to the Amelie Moran podcast. Today we're joined with Shannon.
Hi.
And we have so much to talk about. I am so excited to have this conversation. But firstly, how are you?
I'm terrific. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited about this because this is the first time we're meeting.
Yes, it is.
I put out a thing on, what's it even called? Melbourne Working Holiday Girls or whatever. And was like, who wants to be on the podcast? And you responded. And then literally a few days later, here we are.
Yes.
So talking about moving to Australia, you're American living in Australia. Tell me about the moment you decided to pack up and come here.
Right. So I don't know if it was like a moment exactly, but I was living in Boston for the last 4 years, like in the actual city, and I'm from 40 minutes south of the city. And I know that a lot of Europeans will go to Boston and they'll say that Boston and New York feel the most like a European city compared to other US cities. Yeah, I love the feel of European cities, how it's walkable and everything's close and the sense of community. And I was like, if I already have it good and like pretty much as good as it's going to get in the US, I feel like I need to look elsewhere. And I had been to Ireland a bunch, Irish heritage, and I was looking into options to live there. And you pretty much couldn't unless you had a relative, if you were studying, or if you were married to somebody. So
wow.
Can't say I had any of those things. So so then I just kept looking into, I wanted to move elsewhere to a different country. And I just kept seeing on TikTok over and over again that this is one of the options. I think the options were like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and South Korea. Canada is obviously very close to the US. I think I can drive there in like 5 hours from Boston.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I think so. South Korea, I think, would be cool, but there's obviously like the language barrier. And then that left Australia and New Zealand. And if I had to pick between the two, I think there's more opportunities in Australia. Not that I'm not going to visit New Zealand. But I think that's what kind of was calling me. And it's such a big expat community. So that's why I was like, I think I'm going to fit right in because I'm not the only one on
I'll
this
find
journey,
my people.
It's not like, I get there and everyone's lived there their whole lives. It's like everybody's in the same boat as me. So I kind of like that.
So it was kind of planned, or was it more...
I think my visa was approved in March 2024, and my lease in Boston was up in September. So I had like 6 months to kind of like get the ball rolling. But
that's amazing.
But I was in the same apartment for 4 years, and I loved that apartment. So I was like, if I'm giving this up, I need to know that this is like the right decision.
Yeah, I'm committed.
Yeah, it was a really, really scary leap of faith. And like, there's no other Americans doing this. So I'm like, am I making the right decision? I don't know, but trusted my gut, and I think that's what all of us did. So,
I love this. Yeah. Okay, be real with me.
Yes.
I know you make TikToks about this topic.
I sure do, yes.
But what's been the biggest culture shock since arriving?
Culture shock? Maybe not culture shock, but I just assumed it would be really warm here, and it's not. I brought all crop tops and mini skirts, and I was like, I can't wait to go have my perfect like summer beach life in Australia.
It's because we're in Melbourne.
I'm freezing my ass off. I didn't even bring a jacket. I had to buy this here. Yeah, and I knew it, and everyone was like, oh my God, it's freezing cold there. I'm like, shut up, I'm from Boston, like, whatever. I was like so thinking I'd be so unfazed by it because the weather in Boston, like some of the blizzards I've seen have been atrocious. I'm like, well, they don't even get snow, do they? Like, how bad can it be? It's just windy. I don't even know if it's cold necessarily.
Yes,
but
it's so windy. That is one thing that I have like noticed since being here is the fact that like here it could be fine, but as soon as I go into CBD or something,
I know
I come back knotted hair. Like it's and it's strong wind. It's not like a light breeze.
No, I know.
It's a lot.
St. Kilda's by the water too, and that's so cold. But yeah, I don't know. Like September was like a blur. It was so cold.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I brought one pair of jeans, and I was wearing them every single day. It's like, thank God the people I was staying with had a washer and dryer, because I don't know what because jeans take like, oh, that's a big culture shock. Dryers. People don't have dryers here. I don't know. I've seen
it's
like one since I've been here. I don't know. My jeans take like 2 days to dry.
That's so crazy.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah, that's so weird. I guess with it being sunnier now, it's like fine to not have a dryer.
I know when it's warm out, people hang their clothes on the clothesline, but you can't really do that when it's cold out. So, yeah.
That's so funny. And in terms of food, what's the weirdest thing you've tried?
Vegemite.
Vegemite, what did you think?
I was horrified by it at first. Like the smell of it almost took me to my knees. I was so disgusted by it, but now it's totally grown on me and I like it. Mm-hmm. I'm so embarrassed to admit it.
What?
Yeah, I really like it.
Oh my God. It's like so polarizing. I can't say I like it.
Yeah, the right people told me to put it on toast with butter and then put a little bit of Vegemite on top.
Oh,
really good.
Okay, and maybe this is the transition I need.
Maybe, but they also said it's a really good hangover food because there's like a bunch of vitamins in it. So
is there?
Keep that in mind. Yeah.
Oh, it's a healthy
And it's good
snack.
when you're sick too. Yeah, like the mom that gave it to me was like, "Oh yeah, I used to give this to my kids when they weren't feeling well because there's like a ton of vitamins."
I feel like I've heard this. You have a spoon of Vegemite or Marmite. Oh my God.
A spoon would be a lot, but
yeah, I don't think.
Let's take it one step at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me put it on my toast first.
Yes, yeah.
And figure out where we're at. And with coffee, how are you feeling about coffee? Because Melbourne is so big on their coffee.
I know. It's funny because I actually tried to apply as a barista to a couple places and they were like, well, do you have barista experience? And I was kind of like, no, but I mean, if you train me, and they're like, no, we need someone with 10 years experience.
No, this is a thing.
Like,
you need to be, if you move, maybe it's Melbourne thing, I don't know, but if you move to Melbourne, you have to have like a fucking
intimidating,
degree
I know.
in coffee. It's so insane.
Yeah.
I did the same. I tried to be a barista and was like, same as you can train me. I'm not the best at it.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we need someone with a degree or like a certificate. And I'm like,
I know.
What? It's coffee. What? It's making coffee.
I know. But they take it very seriously here.
Yes.
But people have said it's a lot stronger here. I personally, and this sucks, but I have like a caffeine intolerance, I would say. So I know, which is the worst. But listen, I love the taste of coffee, but like the caffeine, it just doesn't agree with my body and my head. I get really bad headaches. So, but I've been drinking a lot of decaf coffee. It's good. But America, the sizes of coffee are a lot bigger. Like if you saw a venti Starbucks coffee, it's like this big.
Yes,
and like I just got a coffee. It's like that.
Is that like a...
And it's honestly like pretty similar in price too. Like what am I paying $6-7 for? Like that big. So yeah, I don't know.
So that's kind of like a short culture shock.
Yeah.
Then.
I mean,
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, the sizes of the drinks must be so...
And apparently Starbucks here, if I ever said I was getting Starbucks, Australians would be like horrified because they hate the idea of Starbucks. They think it's not real coffee, and like the whole adding flavors, like a pumpkin spice latte is huge at home right now. They would be horrified by that. No, I mean, you can get it. I got it at Starbucks the other day, but yeah, I probably wouldn't tell people that that's what I was walking around with, though.
I guess there are so many small coffee shops, though. So
it's
like you're going with the mainstream. But
I don't even. I think it's more of like a flavors and syrups thing that they're like, oh, you put that in coffee, then it's not coffee. Like that's the fun part.
Yeah,
right?
that's like mix it up.
Yeah.
You're well traveled. What is your never leave without travel kit? Like any unusual items or hacks for people?
I would say, I mean, first of all, your phone is your lifeline for everything. And when people, I have friends at home that would be like leaving to the bar and go out on 1%. I'm like, stop. Like this is literally your maps, your 911, you're literally, you go out on 1%. Oh my God.
I'm so bad at remembering to charge my phone. Like the fact that we were doing this today, I was like, I have to have my phone on charge the whole day because otherwise you'd get here and it would be 20% and I'd be like, let's chat, let's just wait for it
I'm
to
a
charge.
freak about my phone being charged. Like I was that friend like when we were passing around a charger, it's like, hey, who's on the least? I'd be on like 74. I'm like, guys, I need to charge. I bring a portable battery around with me everywhere and my friends here know that I'm the friend with the portable battery and like I will not leave the house without it. So I have that and then I would say this counts, like apps on my phone, just traveling anywhere. There's an app that you can get like cellular data like for each country that you're in.
Yes.
And I didn't know that. Like so when I used to travel places, I would just turn like airplane mode on and only go on Wi-Fi and like you need directions, you need maps and stuff. And you can pay like, I don't know, like $10 for like 5 gigabytes or something, but choose which country you want. Yeah. So
I did something like that.
Yeah.
They're
so
really
I think
good.
when I found that out, that was a game changer. But that and my portable battery, I don't know what I would do with that.
Have you got any unusual items, like weird things that you're like, maybe other people won't see this as a necessity, but I do?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
Yeah.
I feel like mine, it's not unusual, but I can't go anywhere without Vaseline.
Okay.
Like, I'm never without Vaseline or some sort of lip balm. I think also because when I was traveling, my skin, because like we were saying before we started, the water in Central and South America is not the best.
Is it? Okay.
And so like I would get such dry skin and like dry lips. Also, you're in the sun the whole time, so it's like extra just dry. So like Vaseline was everything to me. It was like, I don't care if I don't have my phone. I need my Vaseline and I'll be
That's
fine.
where you and I are different. Yeah, I'm a phone girl through and through. Yeah.
Has traveling changed how you view materialistic things? Like,
yes.
Are you a less is more, or are you like full wardrobe, need all my clothes?
Yeah, so I mean, I love clothes, I love shopping just as much as the next person, but having to condense 26 years of my life into a suitcase really humbles a person.
Yes.
I think like just the summer leading up to coming here, like everything I wanted to buy, like TJ Maxx at home, I think you guys call it TK Maxx, but just you go in and you just buy crap. Like what are we really getting? But like I'd go there and I'd be kind of conscious of that being in there. I'm like, do I really need this like bath bomb and candle and whatever else? Like, no, I don't need it. I don't know. I used to be that person just buying stuff for fun, but yeah, it really like kind of puts things into perspective. It's like, will this fit in a suitcase?
Yes.
Is this going to matter to me in 6 months? Is this something that would come to Australia? So I was living out of a suitcase for the last 2 months. I just got settled into an apartment, so now I can actually buy more clothes. But it was to the point I couldn't even like fit a pencil in my suitcase. Like I'm glad to finally spread out. But I think, that kind of really put things into perspective, and just like stuff means nothing. Stuff literally it means nothing. Like honestly, like as long as you've got important stuff, laptop, passport, like everything else, if my suitcase were to get lost, I'd be like a little sad about it, but it's not. It's stuff.
Similar to you, like settling into an apartment in Australia, it's so nice to be like, oh, I can buy this top because I like it, and like I've actually got space
a closet
for it.
Yeah, I know.
I have somewhere to put it, and this is so nice.
I think when I came here, my initial plan was like, oh, you know what, don't sign any leases, just live out of a suitcase, hop around. And it's fun for a little while, and then you're doing it, and you're like, holy shit, if I have to pack up this suitcase one more time. Like, you spread out, and everything's good, and then you have to get up and check out of your hostel or whatever. It's like, you can only do that so many times before you break. So I think I was at that point. I did it for 2 months, saved money because I was dog sitting, so I was jumping from house to house, and it was fine. But getting settled and all that.
How was the dog sitting? Because I saw it before we moved as a thing. Like people would say, if you're just moved and you don't have a lease or whatever, go and do house and dog sitting.
So that was like my initial plan, was just the whole time I was living in Australia to dog sit.
Oh wow, you can actually do it. Like
you can. There are a couple flaws in that plan. So all of the dog sits are pretty much in the suburbs. Like you're not going to find something in the CBD. Which I didn't really realize. So when I was in Boston still, I hadn't booked my flight yet, and I was like, oh my God, I don't have a place to live. And I got a phone call from a couple saying, hey, if you need a place to live, we need you to watch our dog. We're going away to, I think, somewhere outback. And they're like, if you need a place to live, we can give you our house for 3 weeks. However, we're an hour outside the city. And at that point, I had no place to live. And I was like, oh my God, 3 weeks? Because they can be like 2 days long, a weekend. I'm like, 3 weeks. This is a long one. Yeah. So I was like, I'll take it, whatever. They were so nice to me. Picked me up from the airport, fed me groceries, took me out to dinner like before they left and everything. And it was great. And I have a great relationship with them. If I ever need anything, like in terms of like an emergency contact, but in terms of going out with my friends, not having a car, it would take me like an hour and a half to get into the city, and never mind like coming home. So like you had to take that into consideration. You are responsible for a dog, so you can't be that irresponsible. So
they want to come back to see their dog.
Correct. So I mean, it has its pros and cons, but I think for me, just at this point in my life, like I like going out and having fun, and I'm 26 and I want to be in the city where all the action is. I think having an apartment is a better fit for me. Like in terms of adjusting to Australia, that was a really good stepping stone to like get to know families like relatively in the area. Like,
and now you have an emergency contact over here, which is so nice.
Yeah, they were so good to me. They were actually the ones who told me about Vegemite on toast and stuff. So I wouldn't have learned that without them. But like I said, like I wish the dog sits could be like more centrally located, but that's just not really the reality of it. So you kind of just have to, I don't know, weigh the pros and cons of that. But I saved a lot of money my first 2 months. I didn't pay any rent, so
that's amazing.
I wasn't working, so it wasn't really like,
Yeah, so is it actually making money or is it like exchange?
The exchange was I watched your pet and you put a roof over my head. I think there are some paid opportunities. At that point, I was like, this is enough. Like, please. You guys are literally giving me a place, shelter, like, fine.
Yeah.
My plan was, if I'm house sitting, dog sitting, I'll get a work from home job and I'll do that. That was not that easy to come by. So I was just like twiddling my thumbs all day, but I was in the middle of nowhere. So it's not like, hey, I'm doing nothing, but I'm, in Collingwood where I can go walk around and go get a coffee. Like, I was really stranded and I didn't have a car. So that was kind of tough. And I was just so far away from everything. Yeah. Like I said, that's kind of like what got me to where I am now. So I just moved into my apartment last night and I got a job a week ago. Yeah. Moved in. Like, I don't even have any furniture. I just threw my suitcases down and went to work. But yeah, I was living in a hostel for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, waiting on this apartment to be approved. And I just got approved. And it's the area I wanted to be in. Like, she's really cool. So I'm really excited about that.
That's so fun. Yeah. Congrats. I love that.
Thank you.
When you move to a new country, what has been your way of making friends?
So,
because this is like a big thing.
Yes, this is. Here. So I was really, really worried about this. But that Facebook group that I contacted you in, so it's like the Melbourne Working Holiday Visa Girls 2024. Yeah. Can't really get more specific than that. But they had a pub crawl in St. Kilda. So I think they were like, hey, everyone meet at like Nomad's Hostel or whatever in this bar. And then you pay like, I don't know, $20-$30 for the pub crawl. And then obviously you jump from bar to bar. It was a lot of girls in like their early 20s. And there were only so many of us in like our mid to late 20s. So those girls kind of gravitated towards each other. And that was the friends I made. And we're all just really close after that.
That's so nice.
I got really lucky. This was like week 1. But
oh, wow.
Yeah, we just went away to Great Ocean Road together. We're all like really close. They are all British though. And I'm the only American. So yeah, but which is interesting. I think, there's like one Irish girl, 7 or 8 British girls and me. So
oh my God.
It's fun. Like, I like learning about how different their life was. They're fascinated by me as an American, so which is cool because nobody would be fascinated by my life at home. So yeah. But we have lots to talk about, lots to compare.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Are you the type that would strike up conversation, or are you like, let's see who's going to come to me? Or
I've been like this since I was a kid. I'm very, very outgoing. I've solo traveled a bunch, and like I can go sit at a bar and talk to anyone. Like, it's almost a curse in a way. Like, I'm outgoing to a fault. Like, you mix alcohol into it, I'm way too, like, I need to shut the fuck up. Like, like, I don't know. Yeah, I knew that like that would enable me to be successful here in Australia. Just because, I mean, I'm very impressed with how talkative and like how people can hold a conversation here just a lot. I don't know if it's like better than in the US, but just like people, I don't know, they're a lot friendlier here maybe? Is that how you feel? Like,
yeah, I think so. I mean, I definitely see similarities between UK and Australia, but then also there are massive differences. Yeah. But I would say, definitely like friendly people. But I would have thought, are Americans not friendly?
They are, but I think America kind of has a culture of like individual. It's like, it's like not the sense of community, which I'm gathering that there's more of like a sense of community here. But yeah, in America too, everything's like so spread out. I mean, it's kind of similar to here, but yeah, in America, it's like if you were to go out to a bar, a lot of people would just like stick with the group that they're with and like not talk to anybody else. I mean, that's not everybody, but that's here. Like, I've noticed it's a little different and people are friendlier. But like I said, I've been hanging out where a lot of expats hang out, like, so everybody's kind of in the same boat. It's not like, hey, I grew up with like a lifelong friend group here. Like, everybody's new here, fresh off the boat. I mean, some people, like, you might know some people from home that are also out here. I don't have anyone from home that's also out here. So I kind of had to start from scratch. But regardless, I think people are more like open to meeting new people here than in Boston. Boston was like, people had their high school friends, their college friends, maybe their work friends, but like people didn't really want new friends beyond that. So
you're starting from zero here. I mean,
it's
like,
crazy.
You just have no one. It's like no one knows me. I don't know how to like get out there. So what advice would you give to someone who's maybe moving over and they're like, I'm going alone. I have no friends. I have no one. I don't know how to make friends. Like, what advice would you give?
I think, I mean, not that my path has been perfect, but I think I've done a lot of things right. I think that pub crawl was obviously huge for me. I met all my friends that way. In terms of like dog sitting, I'm glad that I have like, I hate to call them like my host family, but that's kind of what it was like. And like, I like that I have that, and I had questions to ask them about like navigating things for safety and everything like that. Almost like my Australian parents here that I can talk to if I ever needed something like that. That was good. Going on dates. Oh, if you're single,
We'll get to that.
We will get to that, but I think they can also be a very, very valuable resource. So.
Do you think? Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't want to get into it yet. I'm like, I want to ask you so much. Okay. Tell me about the best place you visited in life. Where was it? In my whole life. And why? Yeah.
I think this comes pretty close. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I would say so. Just this has everything you could ever want. Like, honestly, like good weather. We're getting there. Good weather, friendly people. Like, it's a pretty walkable community. Like, they rank this as one of the top cities in the world, and I believe it.
I saw this. My dad sent this to me. He was like,
I think it's in the top 10 or something. Yeah.
I was like, oh wow.
I know.
Okay.
No, I know, and it's close to the beaches, and like. I think people say it's like where it is geographically is kind of isolated because, you know, but I think like I'm not ever on this side of the world. So like I can get to Vietnam a lot easier. Yes. I could get to Fiji. Like there's stuff around this that I can get to that I'm going to take advantage of. But yeah, I would say this probably number one. I'm a sucker for Ireland, so I love it over there. Yeah. London I really, really love. I've been to London 3 times. Oh my God, I love it.
What do you like about London?
There's just
I don't usually get people saying they like London.
There's just like an electricity of London that it's like you can't replicate. I don't know. It's so amazing. I've always gone during the summer, I think. Or no, I went.
It's like the best
I went once in March, like 2019, and St. Patrick's Day is like huge in Boston. It's huge in my family. And at that point, I was studying abroad in Florence. So I was there for the semester. This was my junior year of college. And I was in Florence and I liked it, but I was very homesick when I was there. And I went to London for the weekend in March. And this was maybe 2 months, month and a half into being there. And I went to London, and that immediately was the first place that like felt the most like home.
Really?
And I was really homesick. And it was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and people were like, you know, wearing stuff like that. But I was like, oh my God, I've been so homesick that like this feels the most like Boston. Yeah. So, but yeah, I loved London. Oh my God.
I'm glad you say that, because a lot of people here, when I tell them I'm from London, they're like, oh,
I love it.
Not that great. I'm like,
the Tube, fantastic. If you
I love the Tube.
Oh my God, the Tube, fantastic. Like if you ever saw the T, which is our equivalent of the Tube in Boston, you would never ever say anything bad about the Tube ever again. Yeah. So
okay, and on the flip side, what's been the biggest challenge or even travel nightmare you've had to deal with?
Well, one of my dog sits actually canceled on me that was going to be 10 days long. So she canceled on me the night before, which was wonderful.
And you have nowhere else
to go. So that was me leaving from one dog sit to go to the next one. And I had like a 1 day gap in between. So I was staying at a hotel. I was like, whatever, this is fine. Like, and I was just like, hey, like, just confirming tomorrow morning, like, can you leave a key under the mat? Like, I'm assuming you'll be at work. And she's like, actually, like, I don't need you anymore. Sorry. Like, I found a roommate to let the dogs out. I'm like, okay.
This was
and it was a hotel for like one night. So I was like, okay, well, I can't afford to do this for like indefinitely. So then I moved my stuff to a hostel, and then was in touch with the girl that I'm in, like I just moved in with now. But like it was kind of a process, like getting like filling out the application and everything and getting approved. So I was just like in that hostel indefinitely, crossing my fingers, hoping this worked out. And luckily it just did, but like there was no light at the end of the tunnel like a week and a half ago. It was pretty rough. But,
oh my God. Yeah. This was a week and a half ago.
This was like the 21st. So what is it? November 1st now? Yeah. It was rough. And I didn't have a job at that point. I just got a job. It was so bad. I remember getting off I called my dad, and like I talked to my parents like every day, but I would like kind of avoiding talking to them on the phone, because this whole time they've been like, you know what? You don't need to stay there in Australia for a year. If anything happens, you're more than like, you can come home whenever you want. They want me home. But they're like, not rooting on me to fail, but they'd be thrilled if I went home. So I was like, so when I was jobless and homeless, I didn't really want to tell them that. So yeah. So my dad calls me when I'm at the hostel. He's like, so what's your plan? I'm like,
don't ask me.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. And he's like, well, you can't just be on vacation forever. So you better come up with a game plan, or like you cannot keep spending money. I was just putting everything on a credit card, being like, yeah, I'll make it back. And like, luckily that day I walked into a burger place and they were like, yeah, can you come in and train tonight? I'm like, fucking yes, I can. Yes. So yeah, honestly. And I just, nowhere got back to me. I left CVs, resumes, everywhere. I applied to like 50 places on Indeed and Seek. Nothing. I didn't even get a phone call. The apartment and the job happened like within a 6-day span, but like for 2 months I was just like, what the hell do I do? Because I didn't really come here with a plan. I was like, oh, I'll figure it out. Like everyone's like, what are you doing for work? I'm like, not sure yet. I'll figure it out. And like thinking I'd be able to figure it out within like a week or two, not 2 months, but yeah, if that would be advice I could give to people, it's just like, just be aware of the fact that it's harder to get a job than you think. And just try to be a little more proactive about that while you're still home. If you can get anything, work from home or like whatever.
100%.
No, that's easier said than done. But.
Or even applying to stuff before, because then you can still have that conversation of, I'm coming in a month. Like, I will be there.
Right.
This is the day my flight lands. Like
anything. Yeah. I know.
Give me the opportunity.
Yeah. I think too, also, like, as an American, I know you don't have to do this, but I have to do my regional work if I want to stay a second year.
The only reason I don't have to do it is because of the date that we arrived. If you arrived after the 1st of July, you don't have to do...
Okay.
Do you mean the 88 days? Yeah. So we don't have to do that to stay on for another year.
So I was under the impression that if you wanted to stay here for a year, you could, and then if you wanted to do a second year, you have to do your 88 days within the second year. And like,
when did you get here?
I got here September 1st.
You don't have to do it.
No, I'm American. Like.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Really? They have different rules?
Yeah. It's different for Irish too.
What? I thought it was like a general.
This is brand new.
Oh my God, no, I'm really learning something here.
So, as an American, I have to do it, but so in order to even qualify for a year 2, I have to do my 88 days within year 1. So I have to do it all before September 1st, 2025.
Oh, do it in winter. Go somewhere nice
That's
and
what
hot.
I'm thinking. But a lot of people will say like, oh, if I could change anything, I would have done my regional work when I first landed because I didn't know I'd be looking for a job for like 3 months. Which that would have given you work right away. And a lot of times they'll like give you accommodation. So you're just taking in that money.
I see. I think it's fine to do it at the end.
I mean, for me, because this was September, I got here, and like, so if I had done 3 months, that would have been like September to end of November, which is like relatively nice weather, so I didn't want to like miss that. Also, I wouldn't have met the friends that I made. And another thing, I knew, and I still feel this way, that if I had gotten to Australia and the first thing I did was go work on a farm, I would have fucking hated Australia. Like, I would have been like, get me out of here. This is not what I wanted. I'm going home. And so I think I needed to at least like get settled here and then go do it. But
especially
like,
now you're settling, like you've seen what it's like.
Oh God, so, So I think I'll probably do it like May, June, July or something.
Because also I feel like with those kinds of jobs, they're always going to be around. Like you always, whereas finding this job that you found, it's like, I might not get that if I'd come back or something. So
so I think that will stretch like 6 months-ish, and then I can start my regional work around then. So
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. How do you keep going when life is tough traveling? Like, how do you stay grounded if you got some methods?
I'm probably not the best person to answer that because I did not have the answer last week. So, pass. Okay. If you know the answer, let me know.
Okay. Now we're going to get onto the juicy stuff. Right. Dating on the road. I'm so excited for this. How has the dating scene been in Australia? Have you explored it?
Yes, I have.
Have you?
Probably a little too much. No, so I mean, I came here single and I was like excited because I don't know that many Australian guys and I wanted to see what it was like. I was told before I got here that they have, like we know this, they have a very laid back culture here, and I heard that it carries over into dating to the point where like,
oh
yeah, it's like they're almost too laid back. It's like, can you please care about something? Like, and it's like, if you need to have real conversations, it's like, hey, you know what? We've been, seeing each other 2-3 months here. What direction is this moving in?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, I just want to chill and like take it slow, which, don't get me wrong, I've heard that conversation from thousands of American guys. Like, it's not new information to me, but I think it's just like built into their culture here of just being very laid back and just not really giving a shit. Like, yeah, and which doesn't slide with me because I give a lot of shits about everything. So I'm a very caring individual. So when somebody's just like, doesn't care about it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I have noticed that a little bit. I also noticed too that like, because I'm American, I think guys just like assume I'm on vacation here. So they're like, oh, she doesn't really want anything. But like, that's not necessarily the case. Like, I guess.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like
see you as a fling, do you mean? They're like,
yeah.
oh, okay, we can just like talk for a few weeks while she's here and then she'll leave. And you're like,
yeah,
no,
and I'm like, no, I'm living here. And they're like, well, how long are you living here? I'm like, a year at least, like maybe 2. And like, I don't know, it doesn't register to them. They kind of think I'm here short term, and so they treat me like it's short term. So I don't like that. But like, I didn't come here like looking for a boyfriend or like whatever. I came here as like, listen, like I am moving to Australia. If the right person falls into my lap, so be it. But I'm like, I don't know. I would like to be taken a little bit more seriously if that's the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's so
it's hard to explain, but yeah.
That's so interesting. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about dating apps? Are we meeting people?
I'm on them. I don't think I've been successful with them, but they definitely exist.
Are we sitting there like swiping through? Do we use them?
Well, this is so bad. So Hinge, you can move your location to anywhere. So in my final months in Boston, I was like, why am I keeping this location in Boston? So you already know I moved it here, and people were like, oh my God, you're American. Like, cool. How long have you been here? How long have you moved? Can I take you out? And I'm like, ooh, I'm busy tonight. Like, fully sitting in my apartment in South Boston. Like, and then people would like follow me on Instagram. Like, no, don't do that. Like I'd try to like,
don't dive too deep.
I'm like, do not watch my Instagram story and click where that location is because you're not gonna like it very much. But
oh my God.
Yeah. But I mean, I made a couple connections and a couple of people I did explain it to and was like, listen, like I'm not there yet, but like I wanted to test the waters before I got there, and they're like, okay, fine, like whatever. But
have you been on a date through a dating app and like stayed close to a guy even if it's like not?
I'm not really good with that. Like, I'm not like, hey, you know what? You and I, let's
be good
besties. Friends. Like, no. Like, I don't know. It's very black and white for me. It's like we either like each other or we don't. Like, it doesn't mean someone's a bad person if there's no chemistry. But like, to me, I'm just like, okay, like, what are we going to hang out? And like, I don't know. I don't. No.
It's a weird vibe to take it from like potential boyfriend.
If we've gone on a date and tried to see if there was chemistry, then like I feel like that's really awkward going forward. That like we just couldn't really. I don't know. Some people are good about that. I know people that like have gone on like Bumble dates with somebody and they were like, oh, this didn't work, but like, you know what? We just became friends after that. I don't think I could. I don't know. It's a little awkward for me. But I don't know. To each their own, I guess.
Is there a difference between American and Australian? You've said Australian boys are more chilled. But what's like a big, like, do Australian boys approach you? Do American guys not approach you? Like, what?
Oh, I like that you said this. So I would say American guys are quicker to approach you. But when they approach, like when words start coming out of their mouth, you're like, this is your way of flirting with me. This sucks. Versus here, they're slower to approach you, but they have like more riz. Like they just know how to flirt better.
That's so
like
funny.
The American guys that would approach me at home, I'm like, this is the best you've got. This you came over to me
so
and this is what you're saying to me. Yes. Like I don't know. Like I think the guys are just more like charismatic here and they can flirt a lot better. They're just cooler people. Like they're just
I was gonna say, do American guys and Australian guys, like, have you noticed that maybe one has more hobbies than the other, or like they're more passionate about things, so it makes them more...
I would say that like America, work is like people's life. So it's like work reflects a lot in people's personalities. Like, you know what tradies are here, like whatever, right? So if that was somebody's job in America, from like their clothing, the way they carry themselves, their haircut, their interests, it's almost like all one big category where like if a guy here says he's a tradie, I would like never know that. Like I don't know, because like a guy could be like I said, tradie here, but like look like he's in like New York Fashion Week, like
Yeah.
right, because the two things are totally separate.
Yes.
This is my job and this is my life.
Yes.
So I think that
They have a
answers your
good
question.
separation of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, what has been your
God.
best or worst date experience while traveling or in Australia?
I don't know. While I'm traveling, just anywhere in my life.
Just anywhere.
I would say that when I was in Ireland in summer of 2023, there was Gaelic football is really big over there, and somehow I secured tickets to the GAA semifinal
wow.
at Croke Park, which was like huge stadium, 60,000 people, and I got tickets like somehow in like the third row, and this was like a huge game. Like people in Ireland were like, "How the hell did you get tickets to that as an American?" But of course, me being me, while I was still in Boston, moved my Hinge location to Dublin, was like, well, I bought 2 tickets, so like, who am I going to get to come with me? And I ended up matching with this guy. We still talk sometimes to this day, but I was like, hey, like, I don't know, like, I have 2 tickets to this game. And he's like, you do? Like, who are you? And like, you're from, and like, we were just chatting for a while, and I was like, yeah, I really am looking for somebody to go with. And he was like, yeah, like, that'd be fun. And he said he told his roommates about this and was like, yeah, this American girl, like, wants to take me to this game. And they're like, that's clearly a fucking scam. Like, you're not going. But we went, we had the best time. He was like, how the hell did you get these seats? Like, amazing view. Like, but it was like such a good game. I was so happy to be there. It was just like, wow, like, you know, technology, dating apps, like you can really use them to your advantage. And I still remember it. We still chat sometimes, like I said, but
oh my God, I love that.
Yeah,
I was not expecting that.
That was in Ireland. And worst dates I've kind of blocked out of my memory, so I don't think I'll answer that.
Okay, I'm curious. Do you think you can build lasting relationships whilst you're either traveling or even maybe here in Australia? Like
friendships or
friendships
guys?
Or guys? Like, do you think if you met a guy now, you want to be here for 2 years, 1 year, do you think that could last if you were to move back? Or like, what would that conversation be?
I don't know, because I think like this would already be a hard thing, like in terms of like if we were both Americans living in America, it's like, okay, where is this going to be in 2-3 years? Adding the whole layer of visas and everything else of, oh, I'm not from here, you might be from here, or we're both not from here, that makes things very complicated. But I know that when you're in love with somebody, you make things work.
True.
So if you're that in love, you'll figure it out. So
after being here, do you see yourself making Australia your home, or is Boston always going to be your home? Or is Ireland going to be your home?
I don't know. Probably not Ireland. Just I ask myself this like every hour, because I really don't know. Like I said, I came here fully anticipating this would be a year long, and like I'm just gonna go have my fun for a year and then go back to real life. But like the longer I get into staying here, I'm like, this could be my life. Like this is really good quality of life.
That's
like
so
a lot of the things like I don't have back home are provided here, and I think there's a lot of just shit going on in America right now, especially this week, which we're not even going to get into. But
know.
The more I think about it, the more like
Okay,
that's kind of why I fled the country. For one reason or another. But I just think, I don't know, this so far it feels like Australia cares more about its citizens than America does. And I mean, it goes to show in the minimum wage and just health insurance and things like that. And I don't know, if I were to raise a family, I think this would be a better place to do it. However, like I had a very great relationship with my grandparents growing up, and if I had kids, I would want the same for my kids to have with my parents, so have to take that into consideration. So I don't know, I go back and forth a lot, but planes exist and people can fly from one place to the other. So,
very, very true. What are the things that make you miss home the most?
I'm a very big Boston sports fan. That was like my whole life growing up. Yeah.
Well, like every sport, like
so the big 4 teams in Boston are the Red Sox, New England Patriots, the Celtics, and the Bruins. Bruins is ice hockey.
Yeah.
I grew up like 10 minutes from Gillette Stadium, which is where the Patriots play. So that's like, so that's really big.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, that's really big. I mean, I guess it's big everywhere in Massachusetts or New England, but it was really big because we were like right there.
Yeah.
And then my family, I would say, is a baseball family. So Red Sox to me, just like through and through, they'll always be number one. They didn't make it to the World Series this year. The Yankees, I believe. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers right now. but I just miss like the sense of community at a sports game in Boston. And I always knew that like if I lived somewhere else in the US, like I could never, I don't know, like go to some other city and just try to convince myself that I care about the Baltimore Orioles and like watch a baseball game. Like I couldn't, just because I lived in that city. It was just so ingrained within me that like I missed that part of it. And I'm trying to, like, right when I moved here, everyone's like, oh, well, who's your AFL team? And it's like, it was never, I never had to pick anything when this was in my blood, what I've always rooted for my whole life. Like I kind of miss that versus here. It's like people just pick a team based on like favorite color or something.
Also, going to AFL, do you understand AFL? Because I was no clue.
Starting to. I mean, I got here in September, so it was like I think the grand final was September 30th or something. So I only had so much time to watch it.
I have no clue what is going on
I
in
like
that game.
The concept of it.
And if you say to someone, oh, it's like rugby and football mixed, they get so angry.
Well, I did say that on TikTok and everybody got mad.
I say that because I think it is.
I said the AFL was their version of the NFL, which is completely wrong apparently. Because,
some people didn't like
Australian football, like I thought same thing.
Yeah, because they hold the ball and stuff and like throw it.
I just thought it was the biggest sport because it's huge in Victoria. It's not big everywhere else. Rugby's bigger everywhere else. So I think maybe rugby is more similar to the NFL, but I don't know. It's a debate that they all have amongst themselves. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, right.
Okay, last sad question.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone listening who's thinking about packing up and moving somewhere, but they're really nervous?
I think you can't not be nervous about this stuff. Like, you're literally uprooting your life and moving across the world, probably. There's no crystal ball telling you how it's going to be. There's no way of knowing that it's going to work out. You just kind of have to trust your gut. And last week, I was like at my wit's end thinking, you know what? I don't have a job. I don't have an apartment. Should I just go home? And I stuck it out. And like, it's only 2 weeks later, but I don't know. I knew that this would challenge me in ways that I don't have my safety net that I did at home for so long, that it's like, oh, if something really goes wrong, mommy and daddy are right there and they can come get me. I knew that this would force me to grow in ways that I haven't had to grow before. And this would challenge me, on new levels that I've never even had to think about. But I would say if somebody was wanting to do this 1 year visa, go, and if you hate it, go home. There's no contract you sign that you have to be here for a year. Like if I want to go home right now, I could. If you want to go home right now, you could. Like honestly, there's nothing, I mean, other than like leases and everyone's subletting left and right, you can go home. I would say if you're childless, if you're single, I mean, maybe if you're in a relationship and your partner wants to come here, like you can do that too. You don't have any pets, you don't have like a mortgage. Like if you really don't have anything holding you back, go. Because there's going to be a time in your life where you can't do this. And I have friends with kids that were even to me like, I'm envious of you and I wish I could do what you're doing, but like I have a life here. I'm a mom. I can't just up and leave and go do what you're doing. And I think that kind of put things into perspective for me, that it's like, you know what? I have my whole life to be a mom and start a family, if I even want to do that when the time comes. But I'm not always going to have the chance to do this, because I think this visa goes to what, you're 30 maybe 35, depends, and I'm 26. I'll be 27 in July. So yeah, I mean, time's ticking, so I figured now's the best time. It's now or never. So yeah.
And are there any specific tips you'd give to young women when it comes to solo travel? Anything like safety, staying connected with family?
Yeah, I would say so. I did my first solo trip. I think it was London, actually. So when I said I did that trip,
really safe area, wow.
No, I said it London Bridge. That probably wasn't that safe. But so I did that trip in March 2019, and then I went back to college senior year and was just sitting in the back of class. Like, I think it was like an Italian film class I was taking, like not paying attention, would just be on my laptop looking at flights all the time. And mind you, this is November 2019, before like everything happened in the world. But I remember seeing a round trip flight from Boston to London direct for $300 round trip, and I was like, that is insane. Round trip, like
that's
direct
really
and everything. Yeah, and I didn't have a lot of money. I had a work study job like on campus in college, making $10 an hour. But I'm like, you know what? I'll pick up a couple more shifts. I'm gonna do this. Stayed in a hostel for like $25 a night. Like, did it so cheap. But I was like, I have my Thanksgiving break. This will work out perfectly. I'll go for like 5 days, and I had wanted to go back to London after I said that. And I was like, I don't want anyone to come with me. I want it to be just me. I want to experience it by myself. I think once I did that, like, every door opened up after that. Because I was like, all these trips I wanted to go on, everything I always wanted to do, it's like, oh, well, I don't have anyone to come with me. I don't have like the right group of friends. It's like, you don't need that. Like, if you're outgoing and you know how to talk to people and you really want to go somewhere, even if you're not that outgoing, even if you want to go look at museums and sit at a cafe by yourself, there's something really empowering, especially as a woman, about going somewhere on your own and just like, nobody's stopping you. You wake up when you want to wake up. You're not like at the mercy of anybody else. It's like, oh, well, they're taking too long to get dressed and we're going to miss our bus tour and whatever. It's like, everything is 100% according to you. And I think that gives you like a level of confidence that you cannot replicate. And I think the time to build that confidence is in your 20s. And the way to do that is solo traveling. So I started with London. I would say that's pretty big, but to anybody like wanting to get into it, I would say like start small, like go somewhere like that's an hour away, book like just like a spa weekend or something, just you go get a massage, just go chill, and like it'll be so relaxing and you're like, wow, nobody's bothering me, like I'm good. But we live in such a connected world. You're never really alone. Like, you know, I'm in Australia, I'm 10,000 miles away from my parents. I can call them right now and be having a conversation with them in 30 seconds, you know? So you're never really alone, as intimidating as it can seem. So I think the thought of solo travel scares a lot of people. But just keep your wits about you, common sense. And I think this kind of got me through it all. But just like, most people are good, as much as the world wants to warn you that there's bad people out there. There are, don't get me wrong. Use common sense, but most people are good. Most people want what's best for everyone. They're not going to hurt you. Just have a conversation with people. The people sitting next to you at the bar, nobody's perfect. You're not always going to be in the most perfect situation, but most people are in a similar boat that you're in. They're just there. They want to have a good time. Strike up a conversation with people, because you learn a lot from people that aren't like you. You know, like I go out with my friends and we have the same conversations and everything's great and I love them. But it's like, you know, I was sitting, where was it? Here. I went and sat at an Irish pub and I sat next to like an 86-year-old man. He was sitting next to me at the bar. And he's like, you know what? My wife passed away of cancer a year ago, and I moved out here. I don't know if he was doing the visa, or I don't know. I think he moved in with his daughter out in Australia, but he's like, that house at home in Ireland, it was making me so sad, and I moved out here, and like, you know what? You can have a fresh start at 86. And I'm like, you know what? I came here alone. Had I been with a group of friends, I wouldn't have talked to that man. It really opened up my eyes, and it's just like, that's somebody we're nowhere near my age, but like I learned so much from somebody just like that. And it can be so quick. It was like a 15-minute conversation, but I thought about it every day since I've been here. And so I think solo traveling, like if you're open to it, just talk to people that don't share the same background as you, because you'll learn a lot from them. But you can only really get that from solo traveling, you know? So
I absolutely love everything you just said, because I came here in a couple, so I try and talk about solo travel from people that have told me, like friends that have solo traveled, but I obviously can't sit here and be like, solo travel's great, because I've not done it. So I love everything that you just said, and I think people are going to relate to it so much as well, because the amount of people, when I told them I was leaving for traveling at home, the amount of people that were like, I want to go and do that, but I'm too scared. And I was obviously like, yeah, but don't be. But I had that safety net of my boyfriend. So everyone's sort of looking at me like, well, that you can't really say that, because, you know, you are going with someone. But
it's still a really brave thing to do. You moved across the world.
Like, it is, but it's like, I just love everything you said. I think it's so relatable.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Absolutely. I've absolutely loved this conversation. Where can listeners find you? We got
well, you
TikTok.
Can find me. I have pretty much the same username on everything. Shannon Knight 27. That's Knight, Knight. And yeah, I've had some interesting TikToks that have blown up lately.
Yes, go and watch them. They're very funny.
I just talk about the differences, kind of like what we were just saying, the differences as an American living in Australia and the observations I've made.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.